And you're live with Psych Ups with Brian. And sorry, I'm a little bit late today. It's Friday. I want to talk about pre foreclosures today. Some of our students want to focus on the pre foreclosure market, and I think it's a great idea. I think after the election, some people thought that they would get some kind of relief from inflation or high prices, and they thought maybe I can hang on to this house or I can keep up with this mortgage. And now they realized, inflation's not going away, and they may not be able to hang on to this house. Okay, now especially if you have a way of finding pre-foreclosure properties that are vacant. Now there's different ways to source these properties. You will have in your area a NOD list, notice of default, or you might have something called a lis pendens. It's a Latin phrase meaning there's action pending on this property. So I want you to focus on a way that you can find NOD or lis pendens properties. Basically, they don't even get on that list until they're about 3 payments behind, 90 days behind. So I want you to find a NOD list, some way to source that. Now, we work with a software program, basically RealFlow. Okay, RealFlow has a list generating component in their program. If you want a good deal on a software program, I can get you a good deal on RealFlow. So if you've been thinking about doing that, I don't make any money off of it. I can just get you the best deal. So let me know if you need a software program. RealFlow is very good, and it has a feature that you can look up pre-foreclosures. So you can look up pre-foreclosures anywhere in the country. If you target your own market, I want you to start calling these and start reaching out to these and trying to close them. Now, my favorite strategy on these, because these are somewhat motivated sellers a lot of times. The great thing is that they're motivated and they're a lot of times a little bit more willing to ask for help. A lot of sellers are kind of proud, and even if the house has been listed for 98 days, this thing's going to sell next week, and they don't have an unrealistic picture of the market and what the property is. But people who are late on the mortgage, 3 payments or more, tend to have urgency. They want to do something. Now, what's their options? What if they just walk away from the house? That's terrible. It's going to be a foreclosure on their credit. It's going to be a lot of stress. It's going to be a lot, really difficult for them emotionally and financially. And they're going to carry around a foreclosure on their credit. You're a much better option because you can come in and do what? Catch up the payments. And this is the key here. You're going to that's why I love these deals so much, is because they're easier to get subject to deals. It's easier to take over the mortgage and leave the mortgage in place. So when you talk to them, you're just going to say, okay, so the way we do this is we're going to catch up those payments. And isn't that going to be awesome? You're going to have a good reporting mortgage on your credit. All of a sudden, your credit's going to do a 180. Even if you have some other accounts that are late, what's the most weighted account on your credit? Your mortgage. So we're going to catch up the mortgage. We're going to start making payments on time every month. So that's going to be really helpful to reestablishing and getting back on a good credit, into a good credit standing. Okay, so they should be happy about that. Plus, you're taking the house off of them. Now, this is hopefully a nothing down deal. If they want money, the best ones of these are ones where they owe close to what the house is worth. So now in our search program, we can refine the search so that we actually have one search term called underwater. And so if they're underwater, over mortgage, different people call it different things. If they're over mortgaged, then they owe about what the house is worth, or maybe even a little bit more. So if that's the case, that's a person who's going to be motivated. And if you can buy the house, you're going to buy it for closing costs. So you're going to say, will you sell? If you find a house like that, if they owe 90% or more, I actually will go down to about 85% LTV. If they owe 85% LTV or more, I'm going to ask, will you sell the house for what you owe? And if they say yes, especially if we found somebody who already owes $95,000 on a $100,000 house, they're not expecting to walk away with a bunch of money. So if you say, will you sell for what you owe? They're highly likely to say yes, but I'm going to have trouble with closing costs. And that's when you say, oh, don't worry about that. I'll cover your closing costs. So the idea here is that you're buying the house for closing costs and whatever it takes to cure the arrearage or catch up the delinquency. So check out that. You're going to have them contact their mortgage company. You're going to have an authorization to release information. So technically you can do it, but I'd rather have them do it in the beginning and find out, yes, can I catch up the mortgage? Some mortgages are so far gone. The mortgage company it's so far processed into the foreclosure process, they won't let you catch it up. It's crazy. So, but most of them will say yes. And here is the amount to cure the arrearage, cure the delinquency. Okay, so that's the goal here. Now, if you can get a number, and if you send, $4,822 to us by March 1st, then you're current. Okay, that's what you want to hear. You want to get something in writing that says that, and then okay, so that's what it's going to cost me to buy this house. That plus closing costs, and I own a nice cash flowing property. Now, listen, I'm going to break down next week. I'm going to actually go to the whiteboard and break down a deal of ours, a pre-foreclosure deal of ours like this that we've done recently. So I'll make it a little bit more real for you when I talk about the actual numbers. But do you guys have any questions about that process? Again, these tend to be motivated sellers. You just got to find the NOD list or Liz Pendants. Great day. Be blessed. Enjoy your weekend. Doris, you're so lovely. Isabel, I'm selling a couple properties in Petersburg, Texas, if anyone is interested. Well, Isabel, are they distressed properties, and will you take monthly payments? Guys, what do we always ask every seller? Every time you hear about a property for sale, would you be open to monthly payments? That's how we get cash flow deals. And you know what? A lot of people would sell on monthly payments if they knew that was an option. They wouldn't mind having a nice little monthly income. They don't want $100,000 check. They'd rather have $700 a month coming in. So that's really, once you start offering it to people, you start finding people who say, wow, that's a better deal for me. I'd rather do it that way. So Isabel, if you would take monthly payments and if you have spreads, guys, that's what it really comes down to, isn't it? What's the current payment on it? Or what is the payment I could get on it? And what can I get for rent? Now, if that's upside down, then it's not a good deal. So that's the one thing that I need is 300 at least. That's kind of our minimum. At least 300 bucks cash flow is what I would like to see in a property. Now, listen, there's 4 deal points. So if I get it for nothing down, 30 years, and a really screaming deal on the price, maybe I'll eat some negative cash flow for a while. So nothing is in stone when you're talking about creative financing. Remember, it's always an apple pie. You need 4 good apples, but you can have a bad apple in there. Happy birthday. Happy Friday. Mr. Wolf. I'm Mr. Wolf. Got a new lead this week. They're waiting for a solution. Everything's a solution on creative financing. Okay. Could I email you? Yes. I'm kind of stuck with the numbers, thinking it through, but it's a hot lead. Yes. Send it to me, Isabel. Make sure you send it to support@thewolfcouple.com and make sure you put Brian in the subject line in caps so I get it. Guys, anytime you want to send me a deal, I'm very open to looking at deals. Deals especially. I'm always open to giving you guys feedback on deals and maybe helping you out on a deal. So we even do some financing as well. So if you have a deal that you are wondering about or trying to figure out or something, let us know and see if we can help you with it. All right. And again, just email me at support@thewolfcouple.com and put Brian in the subject line. Find my gravitating more to wraps than subject twos if they want to be able to get credit again in the future. The challenge sometimes is getting them to cash flow. Yes. So if it's a recent loan and it's what most of these recent loans have been a higher interest rate, right? 5 or 6% maybe. So those loans aren't as attractive. If you're finding properties, and you can actually target with a lot of these search programs, properties where the mortgage rate, sometimes you can target it by mortgage rate, or you can target it by year. And when the years were when the rates were low, like in 2019, 2020, we had some really low 3% rates. And that's when, if somebody bought their house in 2019 or 2020, that there'd probably be a good opportunity for a subject to. Now, what Tony's talking about here, a wrap is a good way to do it. It's just a different little function. If the paperwork, you do the paperwork a little bit differently. You have to create a new note and a mortgage. Okay. Now, if we take over a property subject to, the thing that's so sweet about it is the paperwork's so dang easy. There isn't any. You just you're going by the standard purchase and sales agreement, and there's no other piece of paper that says I'm taking over this mortgage. I'm responsible for this mortgage. There's nothing like that. So that's why I like subject to so much. But if you know they have an attorney who's going to look over the paperwork, they're not going to like subject twos because they can't foreclose on you if you stop paying. They have to wait for the mortgage company to do it, and that's going to hurt their credit during that time. So mostly an attorney is going to recommend, let's just do a wrap. But again, you need to have your attorney or your title company create a new note and a mortgage. A note is just the terms of the deal, is the terms of the loan, and the mortgage ties the note to the house. Okay. So yes, and that will help them maybe get credit back in the future. A wrap is a good way to go. Petersburg, Virginia. Okay, she's thinking about Texas. They're in Virginia. Okay, so she's got 2 properties in Petersburg, Virginia. Send me the info and maybe I'll talk about them next week. In fact, that would be good. Yeah, send me what you got, Isabel, on those other deals, on whatever you got, and I will look it over and give you some tips and maybe put it here on the site and let people know, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, next week. All right, so let's look at the pre-foreclosure market. It's a motivated seller in a lot of cases, especially if you can source properties that are vacant as well as pre-foreclosure. And if you can find them where they owe close to what the house is worth, upside down, most in our system, it's actually called upside down, but you hear it called underwater or over mortgaged. But upside down just means they owe close to or a little bit more than what the house is worth. So if you can find properties like that, that is your ideal juicy seller. Okay. Okay, all right. So I will got about 6 deals you're trying to convert and sort of found. All right. Well, I'm willing to look at deals, Isabel. I like talking about deals. So if you got some interesting deals, I will definitely talk about them next week. All right, guys. So let's have a wonderful weekend. Let's get out there. Let's make a bunch of phone calls. What is our goal every week? 20 phone calls. That's our baseline KPI, is to make 20 phone calls in our real estate business. If you're doing that, you're making progress. However much time you're spending, however much, whatever else you're doing, if you're talking to 20 people a week about real estate, you're definitely making some progress. So keep it up, guys. Let's have a great weekend. And I will see you on Monday. What our affirmation for today is, I love pre-foreclosures. Okay. On 3 times on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I love pre-foreclosures. I love pre-foreclosures. I love pre-foreclosures. All right. 3 deep breaths. Nice deep breath in. Good. Hold it a little bit and let it go. Good. Relax your shoulders and your arms. Another one. Big smile and let it go. Don't forget the smile. Smile a lot today. That'll be our goal. We'll have 10 smiles today. One more. Excellent. And let it go. Okay, good job, everybody. All right, so hey, Charles, you're coming in right at the end. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, happy weekend. We talked about pre-foreclosures today, so good stuff. Watch it over. Anybody can always watch these over, and that's always fantastic. Don't forget, we have incredible training on our YouTube channel. All kinds of wolf bites and live with the wolves on Thursday and all kinds of things that you can check out. So I will see you on Monday. Until then, keep expecting success, getting awesome training from the Wolf Couple, or using the training you got. Use your scripts. And of course, you're going to be out there taking action.